Today we're going to talk about how Ironcore is making it easy to add customer-managed keys for multi-tenant SaaS applications to Amazon S3. To demonstrate how this works, I'm going to use CyberDuck to connect to S3 directly and through a proxy. This proxy runs in your infrastructure and you connect to it instead of directly to Amazon. If you're using Amazon's SDK, continue to do that. Just specify a different endpoint on initialization. Before we demonstrate what happens, let me show you the tenant mapping configuration file. This file maps regular expressions to tenant IDs. If a match is found for a file, then that tenant ID is used to look up the configuration for that tenant, which determines how the matching file will be encrypted. So in this case, any file starting with 1 or in folder 1 maps to tenant 1, and anything starting with 2 or in folder 2 maps to tenant 2. Anything else will pass through without being encrypted. All right, so back to CyberDuck. If we upload a file to the root directory, like this, then it won't be encrypted. I can preview it by hitting space and it downloads and it shows. Now, let's upload a file to folder 1. It's transparent, but that was encrypted on the way up with tenant 1's master key. And let's upload a file to folder 2. This one is encrypted using a different master key from a different KMS. No one at Amazon can view these files, and they're protected even if this is a public bucket. When going through the proxy, though, we can preview both of these files as if nothing is different at all, and they both show up as expected. But under the hood, you can only request these files if you have the correct key, and with the proxy, the key management is handled automatically. Now let's go down here, and instead of connecting to the proxy, which is in this case SaaS Shield for s3demo.ironcorelabs.com, we'll connect to SaaS Shield for s3demo 6.s3.amazonaws.com. So this is a direct connection to Amazon. And you can see we're seeing the same files here. In fact, you can see all the files. Some of the metadata is visible, including things like size. Now, if I click on this free climb one and then hit space, it'll download it, and we can see it as expected because that one wasn't supposed to be encrypted. It doesn't map to a tenant. If we come here to number 2 and we hit space, we immediately get an error. You can't even download the ciphertext if you don't have the right encryption key for unlocking the file. Let's talk about this conceptually for a second. Your SaaS application uses Amazon's S3 SDK to connect directly to Amazon today. With the S3 proxy installed in your infrastructure, requests are intercepted. Some of them are left unmodified, like that free climb image, but for requests that map to a tenant, the proxy modifies the request headers to include a per-document encryption key. In order to get that key, though, it looks up the tenant configuration and then connects as needed to a tenant's key management server, wherever that may be. It also sends audit trail information directly to that tenant's logging software like Splunk. These will be different per tenant. This makes use of Amazon's server-side encryption with customer-provided keys functionality, but the provided keys are coming from your customer, so they can monitor its use and rotate it, revoke it, or whatever as they please. This gives them full control of their data, even though you hold it. We can look at the logs from the proxy to see what the proxy was doing as we uploaded and downloaded files. We'll start here where we uploaded the first file to tenant 1's folder. This tenant has something called key leasing turned on, which means performance for this tenant will be better and requests to their KMS fewer. But revocation could take up to 10 minutes to take effect. In this case, it created an AES key for this file and then encrypted that key with the in-memory leased key for that customer. Down here, when we uploaded a file for the second tenant, this tenant doesn't have key leasing on, so it generated a key and then asked the customer's KMS to encrypt it. And it logged the audit trail out to GCP's stack driver. So that's it. If you want to offer customer managed keys and let your customers hold their own keys, then this is a trivial way to get started. If you have questions on this or want to learn more, we'd love to talk to you. Thanks very much.